Okay. So now let's get started with the panelist introduction. So this fireside chat will have 3 panelists who are also champions and 1 moderator from BrowserStack, which is Akhil. So over to you, Akhil.
Thanks, Will. Thanks, Joey. Joey, we need to have provision for other employees to join those meetups. We'll reach out to you for that. Thanks a lot, folks, for getting it started. Good morning, good afternoon, and evening to everyone. I was going through the participant list. We have interest from across the globe. I think it is because of the product or the tech we are seeing, right? The evolution which is being created as form of ChatGPT or the experience we are seeing from the AI powered products, right? I think I am on the personal level very excited to discuss and get thoughts from the experienced panelists, right? Quickly, my introduction. Myself, Akhil. I've been part of BrowserStack for more than 6 years now, and fortunately or unfortunately, I've been part of both engineering and product teams. Majorly involved with the engineering team for App Automate. I have been involved for building App Automate from the beta launch to the GA launch and available for all the years, right? And currently part of a product team here. I'm part of test automation team at BrowserStack. Quickly on the topic, right? Very interesting, the rise of AI technologies, right? Very on the personal level, extremely excited and targeting to get some feedback or some thoughts on how the session goes and what are the panelists' thought processes on this particular exciting topic, right? We'll quickly introduce the panelists we have on the call. So starting with Svitlana. Well, if you can help with this slide, right? Svitlana, can you just quickly introduce yourself for every one of us?
Sure. Hello, everyone. My name is Svitlana Samko, or Lana. You can call me Lana. I am technical project manager in Verizon Connect. I'm also having my own company into business, IT Academy, where I'm helping people to start in IT. Working with quality, I have 17 years of experience in IT, being developer, tester, test lead, at the moment technical project manager. So now mostly I'm involved in quality delivery and quality of delivery, let's say. And I will be happy today to talk with other people and discuss such interesting topic as ChatGPT and AI at all in testing. Thank you.
Thanks, Svitlana. Very impressive, the introduction, right? And thanks a lot. We have Ajay as next panelist for our chat. Ajay, if you could quickly introduce.
Sure. Thanks, Akhil. And hello, everyone. My name is Ajay. And for the things that is not there here, I love learning. And I tried out ChatGPT for testing as well, and then found some interesting areas where it can help and where it can be very dangerous. So super excited to be part of this panel and share some thoughts and learn from others as well. Thank you.
Sorry to say that, but just heads up, we'll put you on spot, Ajay. Thanks, Ajay, for joining us. We have the third panelist, Simon. Simon, if you could briefly talk about the introduction.
Hi, everyone. So I'm head of QE at EasyJet, podcast host at Testing Peers as well. I have to say it's an area, the ChatGPT is an area I've only really dabbled in recently, and obviously we'll get into that a bit more. But I'm really looking forward to the conversations. Something that's not mentioned on here is also working with universities to get testing taught at universities more than it is at the moment. So yeah, there's a lot of passion for quality in testing. So yeah, looking forward to discussing more.
A quick question, Simon. Have you already have a chat on the podcast of yours for around ChatGPT?
We haven't touched on ChatGPT yet. No, we will get there. We have used it in the background to gather information for us while we're talking, but not talked about it specifically.
I think dark secrets, every one of us here might be indirectly or directly using it for our day-to-day activities. But thanks a lot, Simon, for joining us. Cool. Thanks everyone on the panel. Extremely graceful and appreciate you guys taking the time for sharing the expertise and thoughts with us, right? Just quickly on the format, we will have a lot of engagement activities during the call. During the discussion, we will have a lot of polls and a lot of engagement activities around where we would like everyone to contribute and share their thoughts around those topics. And we would also put the panelists on the spot around the same topic. And yeah, let's start. I think let's start with the first engagement activity, right? Well, yeah. So go ahead, Well. Go ahead.
So what you guys have to do is like pull out your phones, scan this QR code. If you're using Android, use Google Lens. If you're using iPhone, I'm not sure. Maybe someone that's using iPhone should know like how to scan QR codes. I mean, if you're already using an iPhone, you should definitely know how to scan QR codes. So scan the QR code, and then the question will pop up, and then feel free to type in what comes in your mind, right? As simple as that. So go ahead and have some fun.
I request you to come up with one word answer, right? It will be much more fun and much more engaging for everyone. I think please chime in. Oh, bad. Oh, we started with a very positive sentiment.
It's definitely positive if you want to keep your job, right?
Yes, that's true. That's true. Would like to take thoughts from the panelists as well, right? Ajay, do you want to chime in? What comes to your mind when you hear ChatGPT, right? In the context of quality engineering.
So I wrote as partner. I'm not sure if others also think that way, but it's a good partner for me.
Okay, it's a good partner, right?
Yeah, it's a good partner to fight, to discuss, to brainstorm.
Yeah,
But
I would agree with that. I mean, I put assistive because it's it's an assistive tech to help us find stuff out. It shouldn't replace anything we're doing, but it can certainly help us get there quicker. It's certainly my view. So yeah, I agree with AJ on the partner.
So essentially, it makes you more productive and efficient. That's okay. Is that a way to put it?
It depends a lot on the partner, right? So
Exactly.
It worked both
Yeah.
ways. It worked both ways.
Yeah.
Exactly. I put security because I'm always aware of security, and I think when we are selecting a good partner, we should think about our security there. So we should think how can we use the tool in the best way for the needs that we have for the product, and still be aware of any issues that may come on the way. So be secure there, think about security. It can be good partner, it could be dangerous partner, it can be very harmful partner. Be aware and think before using in your company. So how to do it. Don't stop, don't say no, but at the same time think what is the best way.
I think totally aligned on the approach or the thoughts on the panelists, right? I think a lot depends on how you use the tool rather than what the tool is for, right? I think that is where the partner and the assistive technology comes into play, right? And any experience, any example you want to share around security, Svetlana, or any work-related experience around the tool, right? So.
Sure. I think we're all aware that when ChatGPT appeared, there were a few cases when people in development and companies even started using this tool, and some data were available for the stakeholders that should not be aware of this data, let's say. I would say that that is the reason why some companies are not using or are not open for such type of AI tools at all at the moment. I know such examples, as well as companies sometimes are very carefully thinking about it. So they are trying to select what kind of tool, what kind of generative AI tool they should do and should use, and for which activities, I would say. When we're talking about quality, it's not only about testing, right? It's not only about delivery, but it's also about the way how we are working with the data that we have in the company, who is able to get the particular data, and data are very important, right? We know that they cost a lot for every company. So that's my first thought when I'm thinking about anything that is so useful, but at the same time can be, can give more opportunities, but also can give some danger, let's say, because of sharing too much. So
Understood.
that's
Understood.
my
Just to summarize for everyone, right? I think the tool is useful, but you would want to be extra cautious or double clicking before you finalize the output of it or the outcome of it, right? Is it a good way to summarize it?
even your input as well, right? What are you
Yes.
sharing? What kind of information you are sharing with this tool? Yes, output as well, but input, I would say, from the company perspective, not personal perspective, is even more important than output in this case.
Yeah, I think very valid point. Just to touch base on the same topic, right? Ajay, if you want to share your thoughts on how it is impacting the overall software testing space, right? And any benefits you want to talk about you experience with the tool.
Yeah. See, either you can have a lot of books with you, or you can have a lot of people around you. But most of the times, both are not available 24/7. So here is someone whom you say, hey, here are my thoughts. Here are my questions. What do you think? That's where I said a partner, right? A brainstorming partner. So at 2 a.m. in the night, I've got an idea. I want to brainstorm. I can't wake Whale or anyone. So I'm like, hey, what does ChatGPT think about it? Was it not possible before through Google? Yes, it was possible. But then again, 8 pages, 10 pages, and then you again dig deep and then you get lost in that web. Now here you could, based on the inputs, you could narrow it down and then dig deep into specific points. So that way I feel it is good. But then why is it bad is, can we fully trust it? Maybe not. But those who somehow trust it as the output or the answer will get into trouble, right? So that's where, when we connect back to quality engineering and things like that, I'm like, it's a good partner to have. It again depends, like Lana mentioned, a lot on what you input. There are people taking workshops on how to create ChatGPT prompts. So that's also an interesting take on improving the inputs and then seeing where it leads to.
So essentially saying it's a good partner, but not sure if it's a loyal and a dependable partner. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, if you keep abusing it, you will get what? It's like garbage in, garbage out, right? So you treat it well. It again boils down to testing fundamentals. As a tester, know that things can be different. So take input from anyone and everyone, including ChatGPT, but apply that critical thinking. And ensure that test it out, test the output, right? Rather than totally believing it blindly.
Yeah, I would agree on that. It's don't blindly trust everything that it spits out. If you're asking it to generate some test cases for you, don't just assume it's going to have every test case covered. You'll need to spend some time looking at yourself, working out whether your test cases you thought of are covered. Is there anything it's missed? It can be dangerous to get into the mindset of, I can just rely on it to generate everything I need it to. So it's really about, like AJ said, using that critical thinking part still. It can be an assistant to help you improve your testing. It can't do your testing for you.
Correct. I think talking only about the ChatGPT as a tool, right? The one thing which I liked about it, it still works on prompt. There is a new buzzword called prompt engineering, right? Everything is around the LLM and the generative AI, right? But it still works on your prompt. So Ajay was rightly putting it, right? Garbage in, garbage out. If it all depends on where you want the conversation to lead to, right? The whole narrative is still controlled by you. I think we need to ensure that everyone or both of us needs to work together to get the final outcome, right? And that's where the points you mentioned, right, Simon, like it's dangerous to overly rely on it or being cautious, right? Those kind of things. That's where the prompt engineering helps you to navigate to a right path and not lead or not directly jump on the right conclusion, right? Because that is what I felt a lot for on a personal level while using ChatGPT as a tool directly, right? So that's what my thought process was. So one word, if I wanted to put on this thing, right, was a revolution from my side, because we still feel that it is one of the time in the generations, right, where the tech industry is taken by storm, right? The bigger companies have to change their roadmaps, put in the OKR based on the AI models, right? The companies like Google has to change their roadmap based on this new tech, right? So that is where I would put it. But talking about the overall AI space, right? Just moving on from the overall chat, only from a chat GPT to overall AI space, right? Because AI has been around with us, right, for a lot of time. But with the chat GPT, the AI has transited or moved to just another level, right? So just talking about the AI in general, any specific cases where the AI has been beneficial for testing, right? Not only chat GPT. Maybe Svetlana, if you can help us start the discussion on.
I would say depends on the tool again, but the best thing I think which is allowing us to save a lot of time is automation, of course, and as well as scalability of these tools. They are able to work with a lot of data, with a large amount of data. They are able to analyze large amount of data, and it helps us to save time. Of course, we should review people, we should review outputs of any AI tools, right? But it doesn't mean that we cannot use them. We should use them. We should save our time with AI tools. So that's, from my perspective, the one or these two things, these 2 points are the most important and valuable for us. There are also a lot of others, and of course there are limitations, bias, but still it saves time.
Saves time, right? I think rightly put. Simon, if I want to pick your brains on the frameworks or testing processes where the AI or things like ChatGPT could help, right? Any insights from your side?
I think one of the key areas is there's a lot of tools out there that look at AI as far as helping improve test automation, trying to the self-healing tests, the frameworks around that, the creating the right level of test cases. I think for me, there's a certain amount of skepticism around it all. AI is still been developed by a human at some point in the stack, so it can only be as good as the humans that have developed it. Therefore, there's still a massive need for the testing quality part to be at the forefront. I can see ChatGPT's purpose growing within the role of a tester and the role of a quality engineering department. I think ChatGPT can play a role, and tools like ChatGPT. But the part of me is still very cautious that the human element, the exploratory element, that part is still absolutely crucial, that we keep that to the forefront and not rely purely on these AI bits to do all the work for us.
Understood. I think you talked about the self-healing test and the test generation areas, right, where the ChatGPT or the AI in general has been making advancements, right? Ajay, anything you want to add on the recent trends or the developments in the testing industry, right, where the AI has been contributing a lot?
So we do see a lot of tools coming up in the market every other week or every other month saying, hey, we are driven by AI, we use AI and all of it. There are two things that come to my mind. One, do we really understand the technology or AI in itself? First, we talk a lot about AI, but have we done anything to learn about that? That is one. And the second is, maybe going back a few years, people were not talking so much about, say, system design, right? Or even AI. It is a good thing that testers are talking about that now. At the same time, the shift from testing to, hey, let me learn all of this and become maybe an SDET or become a developer, that should not be the end goal. It is more on learn the systems, learn the architecture, apply that or use that knowledge in testing, correct? If 5-10 years ago, maybe they were not talking about system design. That was sad. Now they're talking about system design, which is good, but are they using it back in testing, or are they drifting away from testing and moving towards, say, hey, we'll become a developer, we'll become an SDET. Oh, testing. What is testing? It's all about test cases or exploration. No, I'll not do it. I'll go ahead and automate. No, that's not good. I know your question was what's promising, what's good. The promise factor was more on more and more people are digging multiple layers into the architecture, learning about that. That is good. But then it also has that bad thing about moving away from the testing. Testing is actually thinking, exploration. As Elizabeth Hendrickson mentions, testing is checking plus exploration. Unfortunately, more and more people are automating the checks, which is good, but forgetting the exploration part, the true essence, the core essence of testing, right? So let's not forget testing as a whole, because it will repeat. After 10 years, we'll come back and say, we have lost the good testers. Let's go back and find the good testers. And then after 5 more years, after like 15 years, we'll say, oh, too much of exploration. Let's bring in technology and automate. So this cycle will continue. Like I've been here for like 15 years and I see that when Selenium came, everyone said, oh, now no more testers are required. Selenium will do the magic. Sure. Did it do? It did some part. But still, you need to know what to automate, right? And what to automate, you will know only when you understand the whole system. So promise, yes, filled with or coupled with warnings as well.
Yeah, that's true. I think domain knowledge will be always important, right? It's not like that you can just rely on AI tools. You need to have some specific edge case knowledge about some specific edge cases in your domain. You have to have this creative thinking, which is not at the moment available, right, for AI. Maybe will never be available. We'll see. At the moment, it's not, definitely. So that's when testers, as you are saying, testers or quality engineers, yeah, they will be needed. They will not disappear, but I think it's still very useful that we have these AI tools that will save the time for testers to generate some data, even for exploratory testing, right? It's also possible, but not stop there. Use it as a partner, as we started from partner, but use your creative thinking to explore more. But I agree that testers will not disappear after AI. They will maybe improve. They will maybe go further, and maybe with faster development, faster creating of data, we will just be able to do things a bit faster.
It's almost the testers can become the experts of prompt engineering as another feather in their cap, right? So you've already got the exploratory testing part, you've already got the automation part, you've already got the deep critical thinking. Adds that prompt engineering as another feather to enable us to do better testing. It's part of our role. It's not replacing what we currently do.
I like the sense where we are going, right? It is not against the AI, it is using the AI for our benefit, with still being positive about where the tester community and how it affects the overall quality space, right? I think I like the positivity where we are heading towards. We are still talking negative things about AI, but I think it is eventually contributing to make the system better, if I would put, right? Not from a technical or a tactical point of view, but at least the systems will be better, right? That I like this about it. Just jumping in and try to create another poll, right? Just to get the audience's opinion on the similar topic, right? Which area of quality engineering can benefit from the ChatGPT and AI tool? The process is again same. Slido, the same app. I think if you are able to help us with the poll, right?
The similar process, like if you already have it open, it should automatically pop up, and we already have started getting the answers. So let us know in the chat if you have any difficulties joining in.
I can guess what Ajay is trying to input.
I actually like a lot this answer about prediction and effect prediction, because we are thinking about AI as a tool that is using data, but we are sometimes forgetting that, right? That it can predict issues in our code, in our behavioral, some behavioral steps and stuff like this. So it's useful that we have some historical data and we can analyze them. And as AI tool can analyze a lot of historical data, they may propose us what next issue we may have in the future. Again, we should think, we should analyze as human beings, but at the same time, we have these ideas which may not appear, from the creative thinking sometimes. So that's a good and important part, I think.
So Akhil, you were saying, what will I choose? What was I trying to enter? I was trying to enter the code. I was trying to move the Zoom window, get the browser window, and I'm like, hey, hold on, where is it? Where is what, right? So whatever we go, we still get to that fundamental problems and the people problems, right? So that reminds me of one line just I want to share. We could have AI. We always had, and we'll have better AI as well. But is the surrounding ecosystem ready for it? If it is not, then whatever improvements we do in any of the systems, it will be at a very local level, very localized level, right? For example, Apple Pay, Google Pay, fantastic. Was never there, now it is there. But if your internet is not strong, what will you do? Your internet is strong, Apple Pay, Google Pay is all working fine, but the recipient does not accept that. The ecosystem is not yet ready, then what will you do, right? So it's not about what all have improved and can they benefit. It's about, it'll take time for the entire ecosystem to be ready. And by the time the entire ecosystem is ready, this maybe, for example, Apple Pay, Google Pay will move to the next level. So it is always a catching up race.
If I could double click on that one, right, Ajay, what would be a counterpart in a system or ecosystem for AI, right? You mentioned about the surrounding ecosystem needs to be aligned or needs to be on the same level, right? What would be the counterpart for AI tool, which would you consider as a system, right? Just to talk about it.
Right. So for whom are we developing all this software? People, right? And can AI replace people? No. So when AI cannot replace people, what will AI do? The people have to use AI and AI has to support the people. That's it. If it was AI talking to AI and AI doing everything, then we can all come out and then we can just see the magic. But because people are involved and we cannot predict people's emotions, we cannot predict people's behavior, right? So we'll always get into some place where say, oh, fantastic AI, but right now, hold on. We need to think on the output that you generated. We need to discuss, we need to brainstorm with real people and not with AI tools. Now imagine an office where there were 100 people. Maybe in future, there'll be 40 robots and 60 people, or the reverse, right? 60 robots and 40 people. But still we would need the people to think, decide, consult on what the AI gives as an output. That's where I'm saying the ecosystem is not ready and will never be ready.
Yeah, I think the other key point there around people is the diversity aspect of people, right? Everybody is different, whether we look at the different diverse aspects. At this moment in time, AI is not in a place that it can represent every different aspect of diversity, as far as I can see. So there's always going to be that need for the people aspect to enhance and continue to do the bulk of the testing and the quality engineering work. And we just need to make sure we put AI in its place as being part of our solutions to testing, not the be all end all that's going to solve all our problems.
At the same time, I agree with these points, but at the same time, just to add something interesting to this counterpoint to this conversation, I think when you are saying that we cannot predict people's emotions, I think we just don't have enough data. If we have enough data, if we have the particular group, we will analyze this group for some time. But with AI, we don't have to have enough time. We just have to gather specific data that we need. Then we can say that AI can analyze emotions of these people, depends on the question or test case that we would try to create with this group of people.
But
Yes,
my challenge,
it's possible.
my
Yes.
challenge to you there, Lana, is it's only going to be able to react to the emotions of the people's data you've put into the system. You won't be able to take that one person's emotions
No,
that the
not one
tool is
person.
understood.
Yes.
It won't be able to then copy that onto everybody else. It will be it can do the emotions for that one person based on the data you provided it, but it won't be able to do an understanding of everybody.
No, but when we are creating test cases, we are not creating usually for one person. We are creating for a group of people, right? As example, I don't know, admin, people from some country, people some age, whatever. It depends on your system, depends on the service that you are providing, right? I'm not saying which kind of group. And then we are expected result, right? Behavior or whatever will happen at that time. So yes, maybe we will not be able to analyze every person's emotion or reaction, but at the same time, we may have enough data to analyze common result of group. So I'm not saying that it's available at the moment. I will not be able to give you AI tool that will do it for you now, but I'm thinking for the future, and I think it will be possible. We just need to have very specific group with specific information that we are requesting for this group.
So
Are we saying that it will always be reactive tech?
it will always be reactive. Maybe yes and no. Sorry, somehow I feel Svetlana is yes on the yes side, and Simon is maybe on the no side, and maybe Simon and I are on the middle and not on the extreme, saying yeah, there is good, but there is bad also. So I and Simon have not discussed this to not be on the extremes, but it's just happening. Will it be reactive? Maybe yes, maybe no. It again depends on what, right? So
Yes.
can it
Depends.
ask all these questions to itself? Maybe in future it'll ask based on the human's input. Like ChatGPT, for example, gives an output, and then as human testers, we ask probing questions on the output. ChatGPT learns that, oh, this human will ask these kind of probing questions. So tomorrow, instead of just giving the answer, I'll give the next logical or the next answer to such next logical questions these humans will ask. So then humans will get better and say, oh, now you are prepared. Okay, hold on. But why are you so prepared? Maybe we'll ask that question, right? So
yeah, you're right. There will be an element of, it can learn to preempt what's going to come next. So it can therefore start to answer the question that you've not quite got to. So it may not be as reactive as it is now. It may get less reactive, but I think there's also a thing of humans keeping one step ahead of it in some respects as well, doing our bit to keep ahead to make sure we're, not getting overtaken by the AI.
That's where creative thinking is coming, right? That's where we should be one step ahead. That's why we are creating this tool, right? This tool is not creating human yet. We are creating the tool.
Just to try to put a philosophical answer to it, right? We just need to adopt the tool rather than just pushing it away, right? I think we need to accept the positive outcomes of the tool, what it is providing, and we try to be one step ahead. I think that is one of the chat conversations for the Zoom, right? I think very rightly put that we need to be one step ahead, right? Svetlana has put every one of us as a object or a data entry, but we'll take it for the session, Svetlana. But apart from critical thinking, right? Something which also differentiates humans are usually the instincts, right? The way you think, the different type or the different types of thinking you brought in, right? And so the instincts is something it cannot be coded, according to me. That is my personal opinion. I'm not sure what the judges feel about it, right? But instincts is some of human aspects which I don't feel can be replaced, right? And it cannot be coded into an algorithm because algorithm is always been written by someone else, right? So that is somewhere I feel that something as a human we can adopt and we can still use it to our advantage. So interesting. Now that was my personal point of view, right? Coming to the poll, right? We have the majority. We have a clear winner around code generation, right? I think Ajay tapped in on the area where AI versus AI, right? Like if so, I just want to double click on that particular topic, right? What if the tools like GitHub Copilot, right, who are generating the code, right? Does it need similar way of test case generation as well, or does it even need testing as well? So just wanted to touch base on how the development and quality, the testing works together, right? If AI is supporting the development as well, does it need to be tested? If yes, do we need as a QA engineers, do we need to change the way we test the AI generated code?
Yeah, so before diving into that answer, I like the way you say I double clicked on it. See, we have it has entered into our vocabulary that hey, I want to ask a question. I double click on it, right? So that way, in terms of all these Copilot tools coming in and assisting programming, development, and all of it, maybe we should invite developers also to this chat, right? And then ask them, how much of thinking do you do while you develop and how much of actual coding? I believe somewhere 75 to 85% is all about thinking. Hey, creating models and then slowly getting them into the actual code and then writing the code, right? And where are these tools helping? Are they helping in the thinking or are they helping in the writing? Most of the times, I think they are helping in the writing and not in the thinking. They are helping make you less, they're helping in a way that you make lesser mistakes, the syntax error, or generating a snippet of code and all of that, or preempting what are you trying to do. But what am I trying to do? That I need to think first, right? I can't just open a blank IDE and say, okay, generate code. I need to tell what I want. It's just like ChatGPT prompt, correct? So the writing is what is being helped by these tools. So if code is written by these tools, should we go ahead and test it or skip it? Treat code as code, right?
I think on that as well, Ajay, what you just said, you're right, it's there for the coding, but then what human element is being put in place around the reviewing of that code that's been generated? Are we assuming that the code is perfect, or is the developer assuming, right, that's good, I can submit that code, I can commit that code, it can go over and be built? Or are they going through it with a fine-tooth comb to make sure it's doing exactly what they want it to be doing? Are they ensuring that they've written the unit tests against it to ensure it's working correctly? Or are they generating the unit tests as well? It's then how much of that picture is being automated. There is still absolutely the need. I think the more that's automated in the development side gives more emphasis on the human need for the testing, because we need to almost counterbalance that to ensure we're doing everything's doing the right thing. I think if we get to a fully automated journey, it's just quality is going to go out the window. My view.
I don't think anyone on the call anticipates that happening.
See, maybe we treat this as one of the inputs or like a test idea, right? So sometimes some section of testers have never looked at database. Some section of the testers never looked at the logs. Now slowly they are looking at logs, database, and all of that, right? So then they'll use the input or the output from ChatGPT also as one of the inputs in their testing strategy. Hey, for this problem, we have come up with this. Let's go ask ChatGPT and the AI tools also to come up with what does that tool think, and then maybe we'll
do a comparison. Yeah,
correct.
Yeah.
This is good. This is not good, or this is not applicable here, or we have already taken care. Thank you, partner. Come back next time when we ask you. So keep that with you, and it's not always necessary to be 2 steps ahead. Maybe you need to walk along with it. It depends.
I think it might be a strange coincidence if Microsoft is investing in both GitHub Copilot and OpenAI, right? But they're still calling it as a Copilot rather than calling it as an autopilot, right? Maybe just trying to ring a bell or what Ajay and Simon are pointing towards, right? I think that is where we are going. So strange coincidence.
That absolutely makes sense, but I like to bring one thing that is in chat, and you can see Marit wrote, "Hello, Marit. I met Marit before in Wrocław in test conference." So she brought very interesting point. Then she had she did a talk in front of developer audience last week using GitHub Copilot as my programmer and testing Roman numerals, and it was quite cool on how they were ready to say that wrong program was fully tested and worked when given to them by Copilot, which is very important. Wrong program, but was tested, right? That's very good point. Thank you very much. I think we should definitely. I had to read this point because it made a lot of sense, and it was a great answer also for this question.
I think it just created more value to the audience we have on the call, right? So thanks, Marit, for doing that. With that, right, just wanted to get other opinion from the audience and everyone, right? As part of new engagement, the other next engagement, right? I think it has been asked multiple times on the call chat as well, right? What AI tool that you frequently use today? And it is again a word cloud. You can use Slido to input your suggestions, and maybe the tools, some tools, at least for me, right? I'm trying, at least hoping for to get a new tool by the end of the call. I like where we are going, my brain. Ready to bet if it was Simon who typed in my brain.
Found out straight away. Well done.
So here is a beautiful thing, right? When I wrote beautiful .ai, it did not take the dot. It just said beautiful AI. Same with compose AI. So if every system is ready, then yeah, at that time, maybe let's find another job. Till then, let's focus on our job.
Just a bug magnet, AJ.
Sorry, Simon, can you repeat?
I said you're just a bug magnet, AJ.
System is still a tool, right? Let's use tools. Let's enjoy that we are having more time for something more creative, some more interesting, right? But let's do it for our benefit, not fight with it, but think how to reuse it and to get the best of the tool.
I would like to hear about Ajay on his experience, and maybe something very bad thing happened with him while using the tool. I'm just wondering where this emotions and the chat is coming from, right? Just curious about if there's anything, any incident you want to share with every one of us, right? Where not shit, but things went bad. My bad for the word.
Yeah, maybe I will polish it a bit and keep it a little bad. I saw a post and then on testing, and then I said, oh wow, I should discuss now with this person to understand what is the background behind this post and all of it. I was super excited, left everything and then went to that person, and then that person just said, oh, it was not by me, it was by ChatGPT. And I was like, I was so excited to discuss and then build on it, create a product, maybe do a checklist and so on and so forth. And then that person was like, it's not me, it's the output from ChatGPT. And I was like, is this going to be a trending thing that good things come to me? If it is bad, I did not do it. ChatGPT did it. Right. So I was like, I kind of felt very bad that day.
I think that links to a point already. I've noticed just through my helping out with some sort of conference reviews and stuff that there's a lot more ChatGPT generated abstracts for conference that are happening. And it'd be interesting to know how much reviews are going into those as well. People are generating abstracts, etc., etc. So like the article that was shared, I think people are going, oh, write me an abstract that does this. and just go and click submit. That fills all the boxes. Let's submit it and see if it gets anywhere, and then start panicking that you've got to write a talk based on something that ChatGPT has generated for you. So yeah, like you've gone back and challenged. It is a common thing at the moment, and that's where my concerns come from as well. That it's being blindly used. I have no issues with AI being used, but let's use it in a human critical thinking way where we are at least checking the output and modifying for what we need it for, and not just blindly accepting that whatever output it has is perfect.
I think
it rhymes with the theme.
We do article reviews, and one of the check is like plagiarism check and then AI check. We check the articles like it was written by AI, right? So we do it like for all of freelancer articles. So it has become a norm.
But I would challenge that on, I imagine they'll get to a point where ChatGPT can write stuff that gets bypassed by an AI checker. So, at what point are we, relying on AI for everything?
That's true. But what's the solution though? If not for that, at least we could, arrest some leakage, if not all, right? So through these automated checkers.
It's finding a balance, isn't it? It's finding a balance between the human aspect and the AI automated aspect, and not just assuming that it's one or the other. We need to find a balance in the middle.
It's like the antivirus checker. It has its own checklist of, hey, this virus, let me check it. But does that mean there is no other virus that will attack? There will be. And then this updates, the antivirus updates, right? So it is a continuous race. How much cost versus value? How much are we ready to invest for the value that we are getting? If, for example, if you start rejecting all the articles based on even a 0.5% generated AI generated abstract or content, then maybe we'll lose out on articles. But then if you accept everything and then it's like 95%, then no one will come read it because it's like, hey, it's an AI generated. So that's where, as Simon mentioned, a balance. And again, balance depends on every company, every context. So,
and I would not say that ChatGPT is like a virus. I would say that it's a tool. It depends how do you use it. Before that, when the person was writing an article, a person could go through Google, other articles in Google, right? And based on them, create another article, which is actually almost the same thing. Get data from other places and create your own. The difference is just to not blindly do it, right? What we are talking about. Just don't take it and reuse 100%. Think how to use your own part in this, your humanity, your thoughts, your experience, anything that you bring into this generated information, right? It's not just this, but it's also not harmful to use it.
Just being devil advocate and being supportive to Svetlana, right? Any tools you would recommend to the audience which are based on the AI, but has been helpful, not destructive or not negative, but has been helpful? Any tools you want to recommend the folks on the call?
I think any tool that is helping you create code, you should consider to use it, but depends on the company, also security policy. Not every company will allow you to do it. And not every product will allow you also to share your data with AI tool. It should go through security for sure. But yeah, same. If it's helping you to save the time, for sure use. If Copilot is helping you, sure use, and review, see why do you use it, what else you can add it from yourself, your domain knowledge, edge cases, and stuff like this. I am not against anything, but also I'm thinking that you should consider. It's like, knife. You can cut the bread or you can kill the person, but just think first, right? Knife is not bad. Think. So that's the most important part, right, of human, to think.
But then a knife that cuts a bread cannot kill a person, right?
Depends who is taking this knife, right? Who is having it in the hand.
Interesting way to put it, Svetlana. Yeah. If I were to ask one exciting prediction you would want to do for AI in quality engineering, what would it be? Open question for anyone on the panel. one exciting future you see with AI in quality engineering, right? Or maybe a critical problem you would want AI to solve. Let's be supportive to our partners, right?
Okay.
Just putting you guys on the spot.
See, all these movies that we see where in thin air they draw stuff and then it gives you the ideas that I want tools to be like that. Hey, Ajay, you are not thinking on these lines, A, B, C. Do you want, here is A, B, C. Do you want to think about it? I'm like, oh, good point. Remind me after 15 minutes. And then after 15 minutes, it comes back and acts as a tester's assistant, right? Or like, hey, tester's assistant, remember that I am not thinking about security in logs now, but I need to think about it after I complete this brainstorming exercise with this group. Then, okay, good. The tool comes back after that discussion and then helps. So can it be a tester's assistant? Can it be a quality engineer's assistant that someone should build, and whoever builds it will definitely test it and use it. Maybe.
Not sure if the panel is on the Marvels fan, right? But we are always looking for a Jarvis for Iron Man. If that is the way I would put it.
I kind of agree with what Ajay said there. I think, something that you're doing your testing and it suddenly goes, have you thought about how an autistic person might use your system? Have you thought about how an elderly person might use your system? And just give you those prompts to then think about how you or maybe even suggest ideas around the testing aspects that you need to cover off. I think an assistant to help you identify the full range of what needs to be tested. Obviously, we can't test everything, but at least it can help you prioritize. And yeah, that would be really cool.
Svetlana, your thoughts?
Sure. First of all, I'm very curious how this predictive analysis will work and how much we can reuse it for our benefits. I agree, definitely. And from another side, any ethical concerns, right? When we think from perspective of fairness, biases, and stuff like this, would be very nice if AI will learn it more and will give us also ideas there. So propose us ideas. We will still have to, again, think for ourselves and decide, but it would be very useful when it would be more information there. There are more data and more analysis involved there.
Yeah, interesting. I think it has been the theme of the talk, right? We use it, but we being cautious as long as the company allows it, or according to the company processes, right? And try to be using it as a co-pilot for our daily needs or the daily jobs, right? I think that's how I would try to summarize this particular call and open up the forum for more Q&A sessions, right? In the interest of time.
So feel free to unmute yourself and ask a question.
Sorry,
Ajay. Please. Sorry to interrupt. Please go ahead.
So while we are figuring out the questions, I got an idea like, hey, here are the test sphere cards. Here are the would you risk cards. Here is rapid software testing material. Here is, explore it. We put all the books. We put all the, say, test automation university videos. We put everything to this assistant and say, I'm working on an e-commerce project of this conditions, constraints. What do you think based on all of these inputs? Give me your recommendation. So that I would want a tool to do rather than right now we are doing it. Humans are doing it. I would say if a tool can also pitch in through its strengths of analyzing so much of data, reading through it, summarizing and all of it, and then give me a plan, I would discuss with the tool about the plan, right? I would dig deep. So that space is still empty. A partner who can dig deep and then challenge the human. I think that will be super useful to the engineering space.
Very interesting.
Nice.
I'm hoping someone solves for it for the Ajay.
Yeah. So as a host of the meeting, like I'm taking the liberty of asking the first question, right? As Ajay rightfully said in the beginning of this chat, that there are a lot of tools that claims to be using AI to solve a particular problem, right? So if you are from India, you might have heard a tool called like BetterHalf.ai, which is a AI-based matchmaking site, right? So now I have a question. So what is the difference between, so how does it differ? Like testing an AI, because that uses an AI to give you a solution, right? How do you test that? We were talking about like how to use AI in your existing testing pipe, right? But I'm not from testing. I don't have testing background, so I'm curious to know like how you test an AI itself, right? If it, I mean, if at all it's true that it uses AI to solve that particular problem, how do you test that particular AI?
How do you test AI models or what the
Yeah,
output
yeah,
they're generating?
yeah.
Well,
Exactly.
it's all about. I mean, we've got a data science team that we've got tests. We've got testers embedded in our data science teams, and it really is about understanding the model and working to understand the inputs and what the threshold of potential outputs could be, and understanding that if you get an output that's outside of your expected ranges, then there's something not working properly. And obviously, you have to almost treat the internals of the model as almost a black box, and just assume inputs and outputs and work through that. And that's one way of doing it. There's more controls you can put around it and try and dive into the model in more detail if you wish. But for us, the first step is understand what inputs and what outputs you're getting, and work within the thresholds and boundaries to understand that. But it's then also looking at the bigger picture. Where does that model fit? What benefit is that model providing in the greater, bigger system landscape? And understanding that journey through the systems as well, rather than necessarily always focusing on the model in isolation.
Got it.
I think around the answers from Simon, right? I think Kapil on the call has similar inputs, right? Usually done through training data sets and predictive analysis techniques. Thanks, Kapil.
Thanks, Kapil.
Anyone on the audience, right? If feel free to unmute yourself and ask a query. Happy to answer. Marat has a very good point of view. Copyrighted material to Microsoft own tools sounds ethically wrong. Yes, I don't think there's a different answer to it. But I think copyrighted material or the company policies as well, right? What you interact with the tools and what you input to those tools, right? I think it needs to be aligned to the company policies, right? And some way we need to find the compensation. I think that brings to the discussion what Ajay mentioned, right? The surrounding ecosystem needs to be involved. If I want to relate this question with the discussion or the evolution around piracy, right? All the movies and songs went digital, right? There was same questions about piracy. How does the original authors or original singers get compensated for that, right? I think this ecosystem needs to evolve around the tool utilization. That is where I would put it, but would like to hear any panelist thoughts on the same thing, right? How to contribute and how to attribute and compensate for the work they have put on creating the data, the AI models of it.
Credit definitely has to be given. How much, when, at least I don't know yet. Have not thought about it. I'm not against giving credit. I've not thought about it on how it will fit in when we include their work in all of this kind of experiment.
I think all these procedures will still, appear. They are not yet done. That's what a lot of people are talking about, right? How to create kind of rules in this world that now we are in, but we don't have yet rules for this. I think there is no answer at the moment. I think it's actually in progress. It's yet to be defined, and it's possible that it will not be the same in every country, and it will be different, and then maybe that will not allow some tools to be used in different countries and stuff like this, which is regularly, like normally fine, and it happens very often, right, with different new tools that appear. Based on this, we will see. I don't believe that it will be one, like one set of rules for everyone. It
Correct.
will not probably be like this.
In that case, should we look AI tools as piece of a puzzle, or rather you have AI as a core and then build outwards, right? So to fit in that ecosystem, or should we look at it as a puzzle piece that fits into our existing problem and then use AI to solve that particular problem? So how should we look at AI in general?
I think it's part of the puzzle. I think it's I personally don't see it as the core yet. It may get there over time, but I think at the moment it's just a piece of the puzzle that we can use to solve problems. It's not the central focus at the moment. It's part of the bigger picture, but it may get to a point where we trust it enough that it becomes the core. But at the moment, I can't see it at that point yet.
Got it. Makes sense.
For any technology, we do have the early adopters and then the laggards, right? So even for AI, it will be the same is what I feel. Someone will say, hey, you know what? I've made so much of progress through AI. Why are you not doing? And others will be saying, I don't trust it. I don't have the need for it. Why should I adopt it? So we'll always have that set of people moving through that timeline slowly, right? Something that we take for granted now was not possible before. Similarly, maybe tomorrow, emails and XYZ tasks will be done by AI, which as on date, we are thinking too futuristic, but it might happen. Just like now we use WhatsApp. Who knew that something like WhatsApp will be there? We are fighting for 100 SMS per day.
Yeah, very rightly said.
Got
I
it.
think one of the questions on the chat, right? One of the questions on the chat we have, do you have any suggestions where to find good set of data for playing around with AI and test cases?
Data for what? Maybe
For
test
playing around with
AI.
AI.
Jason Urban has written good articles, posts on testing in AI, testing AI and all of it. Maybe we dig deep into that first, and then maybe even create or look for the data that will help us. See, maybe ChatGPT will answer your question straight away with an answer, but a human will question back and ask more about the context.
Yeah, there are different Kaggle data sets, right? Just look for open data sets. There are a lot of data sets, but depends what actually you want to test. First, like everything in testing is starting from requirements, right? What exactly you want? Then based on this, we can answer the question. So what kind of data you want? Because data is very, you can test images, you can test videos, you can test text, you can test something particular in some domains. So, but there are a lot of open data sets, so a lot of when Google Cloud open data sets, Kaggle data sets. In particular countries, you can get, as example, I was doing a data analytics course, and we had open data sets for video cameras in Dublin, where you could see how we were doing this project, where you could see how many people were walking before COVID on the particular streets and during COVID, and we were analyzing and giving some information based on this, right? So that depends on your requirements.
Thank you for summarizing it, Svetlana. Thanks, Ajay. That's it from my side for the panel, and over to Well for closing notes. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah. Thanks, Ajay. Thanks, Svetlana, and thanks, Simon, so for all your valuable inputs on the topic. And I hope the audience would have enjoyed it as well. So if you have more questions, feel free to put it in our Slack. All the three of our panelists and Akhil are available in the Slack. So feel free to put your questions there, and they'll be happy to answer. Or if they get time, they'll definitely answer the questions. So put all your questions there.